Hello, hello, everyone. It's your friendly neighborhood streamer, Yentra here, with another fantastic stream episode for your viewing pleasure. I am going to be doing a continuation, really, of what we have done in the last couple of streams, which is to feature a ship and kind of use that ship in its intended purpose. And in this particular case, I'm near some clicking, so I'm just going to move away from that sound. Because that was annoying, wasn't it? Now we're going to use a ship that I don't currently own. So the very first part of the stream is going to be your boy Yentra. It's going to go buy a ship, and then we're going to use it. And today, as the title alluded to, we're going to be using the Argo Raft. I don't normally do a tremendous amount of spec details, but I will provide one major detail of the Argo Raft, which is its cargo capacity, which is 96 SCUs. You may be familiar with these external boxes that are 32 SCU each, and this one carries 3 of those, if I'm not mistaken, to get us to that 96 SCU. So it is definitely a ship that is not on the higher end of the cargo capacity for sure. However, I think there's sort of going to be a need for a intermediary ship as you start to play the game of Star Citizen and the trading economy corrects itself, and we'll talk more about that in this stream. But as the economy starts to become more dynamic and more useful to other parts of the game, we're going to need cargo. And we're not going to need just a massive amount of cargo. There's going to be an economy, a small economy, a medium-sized economy, and then an enterprise-level economy in this game at some point. And I think they're very ship-forward in the making of this game. And so these ships are they're all already out, except for that high enterprise level that I mentioned, which they are not out because, of course, they take longer to make those ships, and there's no economy for those ships. And one might argue there's no economy for any ship other than perhaps a Caterpillar or a C2, the larger of the cargo ships in game at the moment. But we're gonna kind of blast past reality. This is a game after all. And we are going to use the raft for its intended purpose. And first, like I said, we gotta go pick up a raft. So I am gonna pick out a ship.
To the ASOP vehicle retrieval system.
And you know what ship I'm gonna take? If you know anything about me, I love the Pisces. It's great for moving from one place to another very quickly. And it's not too bad for picking up a couple of your friends either and getting them to where they need to go very quickly. There's 2 jump seats in this vehicle. Yeah, I didn't even try to pay attention to what the ASOP terminal told me. Hope you all doing fine and well as we start up this stream. A lot of things going on in the world, and sometimes escaping in a game is exactly what the doctor ordered. Well, I had a lot of rough years. The last 2 years or so have been kind of rough for everybody, so I know for me, this game really is a great, I wouldn't say escape, because I never really want a game to be an escape from reality. It enhances your life. It's an additional component to what you got going on. It shouldn't be all and everything, and I know some people, you know, the game means quite a bit to a lot of people, and maybe it is the bright light in their life. There's nothing wrong with that either, you know, just sometimes I think, especially when you're reading the forums and getting into the community of Star Citizen and any other game or any other thing, it's easy to see a certain group of people kind of being a little obsessive, if you will. This is a big deal to them. There's a lot of emotions around the game: disappointment, frustration, happiness, loyalty. You know, some question. Those who question the game. I think that's fine too, but hope you're enjoying the game. I hope you're taking a moment, stepping back, and just realizing that this is a game that you get to play, and you get to imagine what life would be like, you know, in the stars. And it's a privilege that a lot of people don't have, to be able to facilitate their imaginations in the form of a game. So that's how I try to look at things especially when the game isn't behaving as well as one might like it to behave. Now, I've always found that there is kind of a pattern with me in this game in relationship to ships. I think it's common in this game, in fact, because ships are done so well. You can walk through the interior. It is an experience to see what's inside the ship that you have, and to see the outside of the ship, and to see what's going on, you know, within the containment of a ship, something that you don't see in a lot of other games. Usually you're just constrained to, say, the cockpit. So I think what's very common in playing this game is people like myself who choose to use a ship as a new way to experience a new activity, even if it's the same activity as something before, something you've done a lot in the game. The fact that they've made these ships so distinct from one another means that you can do essentially the same task, and if you do it in a different ship, it does feel different. I think that's what kind of keeps people engaged in the game for a while, and it definitely promotes the acquisition of ships. I myself fall victim to that. But I will tell you, every time I get a new ship, or every time I fly something that I haven't flown before, or drive something that I haven't driven before, it changes how I feel about the game, and it's a pretty exciting experience. I know the activity that we have planned out for today is something I have done, and I wouldn't necessarily say, you know, I'm great at it, because I'm not, but I certainly can appreciate every time I do it do this trading with a new ship. It's this is a little, landing's different, taking off's different, flying this thing around's a little different. I like how all of that collectively makes me excited to go do another trading run, or contrastly, perhaps makes me not want to do another trading run. So I think that's a very common thing to use the game and to use specifically to use the ships in the game as a way to re-energize your enthusiasm for that particular experience. So we're going to head to Lorville. Ooh, I just saw it. You know, and I got to point out, I love Hurston here. I just love how those clouds kind of just seem like they're about ready to pop out into space. They're so far off the surface that you really do engage with them quite early as you head into Lorville. I've been rambling, but I do like talking about these things in stream, and I hope you enjoy listening to some of those things that I have to say. So we're going to head into Lorville, and you know, I will say there's a lot of good things to say about the planet. I think this is probably one of the easier space stations to spot. You have this big landmark here, and you've got some nice, as soon as you can figure out where that is and how you're approaching that big building, you can easily spot the space stations, which, you know, it's nice that they are illuminated and there's some signs there to distinguish them. And I think for first-time players or new players, I know myself, I've spent a lot of time finding where the spaceport is. And this is one of the easier ones, I think. In fact, I would go so far to say that it is the easier one to see in all lighting conditions. It's nighttime, you can still see those signs illuminated. And of course, if it's daytime, the signs still help as well. Oops. Sometimes I try to do too much and I overshoot what I'm trying to get done here. Let's do that again. Pisces is such a nimble little ship here that you can really land this thing just about anywhere. Using this as our transporter to get the new ship that we are about to buy. Is this one of those ones I can go both ways? I think it is. Yeah. This is one of the easier places to buy because you literally just do deal. It's just a right and a right and a right. And the other locations require you to take a train. So you can't beat that. So we are looking for our ship today. And there's, I would love that there's really only one terminal over here. And it is not the easiest to find. But there it is. Let's take a look at a couple of ships. I don't usually come here very often, so maybe there's something else you want to kind of look at as well while we're here. Now, I am very sure I looked this up to make sure that the raft could be here. And here it is. It is 1.8 million. Striking resemblance to, of course, the mole. Could easily confuse the two, but of course this one is meant for cargo. And I believe I said there were 3 boxes. Those are those SEU boxes on the belly of the ship. I'm all about buying this thing right now, so I'm just going to do just that.
I think you just made one hell of a good decision.
I don't think I've ever had audio feedback turned on when I purchased other ships. Do they always congratulate you when you buy a ship? That's strange. Now, the Argo Mole is is a mining ship, and I don't know if I mentioned that while we were looking at the other ships, and you may already know that. But this is not a mining ship, but it does fit within the industrial look and feel. And I'm assuming
To the ASOP vehicle retrieval system.
this isn't going to be a fun ship to fly out of atmosphere, but we're going to go ahead and do that anyway. So let's get the raft out
Stand by.
and take a peek at it. I believe this was part of the free fly. This ship was available a couple of weeks ago, so if you've been playing a little bit longer than that,
Vehicle has been delivered to
you
the
may have had an opportunity to fly this particular ship. I know I did. I wanted to check it out. I wouldn't say that I was in love with the ship, you know, but I didn't have a lot of time with it either. And I was able to sort of see there's a bug with the elevator, which I'm assuming we will see if that still persists. I don't think that's been fixed. But it reminds me a lot of a mole, the interior and the exterior, as I mentioned. And of course, we got the big hangar here, so it does kind of really take away from the size of this thing, but you'll see that as we get closer. Not the largest of ships, but as we get closer here. Yes, so I wanted to kind of pull back here and give you a good view of the ship. The Argo Orange. There's an elevator, which is the only way to get in the ship. Unfortunately, that elevator works fine to get in, but it doesn't work to get out. There's, I believe, a station on the top. And then the cockpit is on the bottom level. And there's a portal here, an airlock that you can use to jump out of the ship. So it's not a death trap. You can get out. But those boxes that I mentioned, the storage boxes, are all here. There's 3 of them. They look like sort of semi-truck containers, and you can see that they're supposed to, looks like they're on some kind of a rail here, and these grippers are holding them, and I would imagine they would lower and release those boxes and or pick them up all on their own. So I think the real advantage of this ship is going to become obvious once we materialize cargo. And these exterior cargo ships, we're told, are going to have a huge advantage over the other ships when it comes to loading and unloading. So if you happen to have one of these, you know, you kind of like some of the other ships, you really are future-proofing yourself as that game loop. Oh, I know better than to really get onto an elevator before it's done lowering. I can go to any of these decks, but once I go to that particular deck, I'm stuck there. And I shouldn't have actually gone to the top deck. That's kind of out of habit. But it's good that we did. From a touring standpoint, you would typically want to go, you know, I'd want to go to a deck that isn't the deck that we would sort of take off from. But this will be the, to our left is going to be kind of this, go down this hallway. There's obviously some components here. And then this is actually the other area, which you can see gives me a good vantage point to those cargo boxes. So you can imagine somebody here controlling the load and unload of those boxes, perhaps moving them or gripping them or whatever around this this track that they appear to be on. That's the way I kind of see this working. And so you'd come up to this top deck for that. And then just back here, I don't think any of this really opens or does anything. But here's that elevator, and just to kind of show you, it doesn't really work. I can call the elevator, and it certainly does open up. But this control panel doesn't work. So what you have to do is take the ladder, and I'm looking around to make sure that I didn't miss anything to call out as we're going. But you'll see here that there is a ladder that opens up in that you can go down to the next level down. So you can kind of think of that top level as its main purpose is for the cargo loading and unloading. And this is just a kind of little area here. I believe this is a bathroom, shower, and then we have a couple of other things here that are not actually working yet. I don't know if that's a gun rack or I think those would probably be storage for suits and things of that nature. There's our gun rack. Sorry. Oh, I didn't realize. I thought that was a glass door. Sorry about that. So this is the main level. So you get like sort of a kitchen area, Argo Mole's kitchen area, a couple of bunk beds there. There's really nothing over here but the beds, and then the kitchen area. So kind of cool. I guess these would be storage for. Oh, and actually these do work. Well, that's great. A lot of these places, ships don't have external storage working, so this one does. This would be where you could actually have shared inventory. That's the difference between just hitting I and dropping things into this vehicle storage. You could have accessible storage to anyone who happens to be in the ship. So that's kind of cool. We just came from there, so I'm going to go down these steps. And here is the straight ahead. Obviously, there's the bridge. And we saw that while we were in the hangar. This is the elevator, which I'm not going to get into that room because I don't know if you can get out. Because, again, the elevator is broken, so it's not going to work. I think you can get out, but I've never tested that, nor would I do that live on stream. This is the airlock. You can see it kind of off to the side, and it really is a true airlock. You can physically get in here, and you can close this, and you can open the airlock, and you can jump out, or presumably connect to another ship via the airlock, or just EVA. In any case, this is how you have to get out of the ship from now on, until the elevator is fixed. And let's go check out the bridge. 2-seaters, pilot, co-pilot, kind of standard setup, MFDs. Fairly good, I would say, visibility here in the pilot seat. Not too bad. Those MFDs are not really blocking too much. And you do kind of get a good look down and to your left if you're the pilot. And there's a little, it's not like there's a sunroof on this one, but you can see quite a bit. I would say overall pretty good for what you would expect from Argo. So we're going to take this thing out, and I think the run of the day is going to be, we're going to try to do either a couple of runs, and I kind of want to compare and contrast what we're experiencing as we do a couple of runs, maybe give us a chance to kind of really check things out. Now I'm going to pop up my my balance after I purchased that ship, so we can keep track of how much money we make in these cargo runs. So 8,718,932. Okay, so that way we know what our balance is now. We're not going to need to refuel because this is a brand new ship. So we are going to go to I'm going to head to Lyria, and we're going to do that Agricium run. That's the run that I know, and I like to kind of add some baseline here for us. Ooh, that's a... Yeah, so I'm imagining this thing's going to need some VTOL to get vertical here. So we're good to go. Let's take this thing up. Oh yeah, this is a big boy. Reminds me a little bit of the mole, actually. Its nose is trying to dip down when we're doing our VTOL here. Let's get that landing gear up and see what that looks like. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I kind of like that. Check that out again, if you don't mind. Yeah, I love those big monster feet that just swing down. That's awesome. It's pretty cool. Let's take it out of VTOL. Watch me just start crashing to the ground. All right, I want to bring it into first person here because I do want to see what kind of speeds we might achieve here coming out of atmosphere. And we're not going to hold our breath. This might be one of those streams where we play some background music for a while as we go through these transitions. Looking at 147, 148, 150. Okay, yeah. Still climbing. Slow but sure. I'm not going to hit boost just yet. I just want to see what the natural speed of this thing is. Of course, when we start to do our runs, we'll try to maximize the time by hit and boost. But in this case, we're going to go low and slow. We're at 7,000 kilometers, almost 8. It's not too. I mean, this isn't too bad actually. I don't feel like I'm in an 890 jump, forcing that thing out of atmosphere. Of course, there's a big size difference between an 890 jump and this, of course. But yeah, let's get a course plotted in here. We'll head to ArcCorp. I'm assuming that's stuck. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm used to looking down at that radar and giving me an indication of where that marker is. This is stock. You obviously know that because I just bought it, so I don't have any upgrades. If I were to use this for trading, I can guarantee you I would first look at and evaluate the quantum drive. That's the first thing I upgrade in every shame. Jumping. And I know a lot of people don't. And I think that's the best bang for your buck, to upgrade your quantum drive. So you're not waiting for it to cool down, or spool up, or calibrate, which are the three things that stop you from jumping. And then, of course, it's nice to have some speed while you actually are jumping. Let's take a look at this from the exterior while we're jumping around. It's also funny because one of the reasons why I thought it would be nice to buy this ship is a little bit hoping that it kind of that it would fly a little bit like the Mole, or because I very much enjoy flying the Mole, but doing group mining missions hasn't been something that I've been doing a lot of lately. And this is just one of those ships that it just feels to me like you could get a couple of people in here when this game loop becomes a thing, and you could really have a lot of fun, doing some group trading, or cargo hauling, which just seems a little weird to say because you can't do, it's kind of silly to say that you would do group cargo hauling in the game now, in the state that trade is in, because you do not have physicalized cargo. But with the 3.18 release that is going to probably be spilling into next year, I would imagine. It was slated to be, I believe the original target date was November, but there was also supposed to be a major 2 to 3 month testing cycle, and I don't believe that 3.18 is in Evocati yet. So I think it's going to be a while before we see that, unless they find a way to speed up their testing, and or the testing goes really, really well, which is possible. They could have been overly cautious in their estimate, and then we might get it a little bit earlier than, or rather get it on time, but I think that's unlikely at this point. This is a bit of a hike, going from ArcCorp to, going to ArcCorp from Hurston, but not too bad. This isn't. Again, I don't feel like this is slow at this point. First impression, rather. So so far so good. I think it'd be kind of cool to be in kind of this industrial-looking ship, and hauling some cargo around. I think that'd be kind of a cool thing. I don't know if I would do any long haul trucking in this bad boy, but it might be kind of cool. So I think just like to thank you for watching this stream. You know, I'm going to kind of give you my first impressions. I know it's not technically my first impressions, but I really did just take this thing in and out one day because and it was very late during the free fly. This ship was going to go away, and I wanted to force myself to take it out. So it wasn't in the most ideal of conditions. I wasn't, necessarily doing things that that were conducive to me really testing it out for what it is. So I'm glad I got this ship, and we're certainly gonna use it, and I'm gonna kind of force myself to use it for some cargo runs. Maybe not always on stream, but just so that I get a good sense of kind of what this ship can do. And if I like it, because I'm really hoping to have kind of a smaller cargo ship, because I just did things out of order in my gameplay. I started using like a Freelancer Max was the first hauler that I hauled the Quantanium runs to Area 18 from Arc L1. And I love that ship. I also did some rock mining in that ship and everything else. And then the next ship up that I went to was the MSR. And that served me quite well for a long time. But then I really got into mining. So much so that it was not uncommon for me to have, 10 or 12 work orders outstanding at all times. And I just needed something a little bit bigger. And I jumped into a C2 right away. And that's not typical. Typically, there would be kind of a jump to something a little bit in between a C2, which is the largest vehicle that you can haul right now. Haul cargo in. But I just jumped right to that. And then what I found is, because I had so many work orders sitting there waiting to be taken, and I was such an aggressive miner. That sounds weird, doesn't it? Aggressive miner. But I wanted to, because I was so into mining and I had so many work orders all the time, the C2 was a good fit. But since I've sort of decreased, in fact, I have no work orders, which it's weird to say that because usually I have some. But now it's more like I might have 4 or 5 work orders, and that might be on the high end. And bringing the C2 out for, a single work order or 2, it just doesn't make any sense. It's a lot of ship to fly. So my hope is that I can get something like this, and it'll give me an option to sort of, because I've gotten rid of my Freelancer Max. I still have the MSR, and I do use that, but because that's sort of a daily driver, I'm always flying that or the Valkyrie. Those are my 2 go-to ships for a daily play. I just thought I want something dedicated to shipping and hauling cargo. And I kind of want it to be a bear to fly around. I want it to be a bit of a pain, to get in and out of that. I want to experience what you would probably experience if you were in a real ship that did cargo hauling. So far, I can't say that I'm... Oh, listen to that. That is interesting. Now, I don't know what this thing does and how quickly it slows down. And if it's like the mole, it's going to fall to the ground as soon as it gets into atmosphere. So I just have to be careful about that. I thought about picking up a hull A, but you can't buy those in game at the moment. And I believe I looked that up, and I don't think it was anywhere near. Ooh, I'm not paying attention. I'm not paying attention. And I need to, because I'm going to very much crash. Let's see how quickly this thing stops. Ooh, 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 ooh. Boy, that would be very embarrassing if I crashed this thing. Sorry, I got talking there, and I forgot to pay attention to the fact that this is a ship I haven't flown before. Or at least flown enough to, you know how quickly it can stop and or crash. You know what? Actually, here there's a tick in the this is a pretty nice ship column. It didn't do too bad. I think it responded a lot better than a mole. I was able to recover pretty quickly. I mean it was fine. I should have crashed there. I was being negligent. You know, I really should have crashed there. I wasn't paying attention. I was well within, you know, kind of a place where I was really coming in hot there. Yeah, you know, I'm just checking this out. I really haven't used this ship enough to see how risky that maneuver was, but I think it went pretty well. Gonna level this thing off and just curious, you know, what this thing looks like when it lands. Yeah. It's not too bad. Not too bad. Now, of course, the other thing to mention about these cargo ships, you know, weighing the pros and cons of these ships. One significant con of this ship is if you roll up on me at this station, you know what I'm doing. Right? You know I'm hauling cargo. I'm not here to pick up a rock, you know, and to go rock mining. I'm telling you what I'm doing because this is a dedicated cargo hauler. Take a screenshot of that. We're going to take a better screenshot of that. All right. Let's go buy some commodities here. I should have paid attention to where the storage building is. It's not there. We could do some looting too. I always do looting. Yeah. Had I paid attention, I would have landed on this pad over here and made short work. I do like jumping out of those portals, though, because I know that you can't get back in. So I can just jump right out and not have to worry about somebody popping in on my ship there. So we're in the storage building. Just wanted to double check. So in order to see what we're going to make, I'm just going to double check that I've got my balance 8 million, yes. Okay, so I've captured the balance now. So we won't even need to do math. Our bot will do our math for us. And the bot I'm speaking of is a bot that I've named Hawking. And it is a in-development bot that is part of the Discord server that I run called the Know Nothings. And that is a Discord server that is linked in the description. And if you ever want to stop by and say hello, I'd really appreciate you joining the crew over there. But this is an exclusive bot that I built. I'm a software developer by trade. I own and operate a small little software development company that works with some fairly large clients, and we have clients all over the world. And I thought it would be fun to build a Discord bot. So I did, and one of the many things that it does for the members of the Discord is it will... oh, interesting. I have my mule here. It will track your balance, your bank balance. So we're going to sell, or we're going to buy rather than maximum. And so when you track your balance with the bot, you can, and of course I'll fill it up with titanium. That filled me up, right? Yeah. Okay. So you can use it to track your balance, and in cases like this, when you're doing trading, it's really handy because you can do the balance. You can enter the balance at any time, and then of course enter the balance after you do your trading, and then the statistics that you get, it summarizes, how much, what your top balance was, what your average balance was, things like that. But it will also tell you what the difference was from the last time that you entered your balance. So I just do it now before, and we'll do one after we do all of our trading. And of course, if I wanted to see how much everything costs, obviously the difference between now and so I won't enter a balance until we get all done with our trading run, and then we'll see what we made. I'm going to do just the small, tiniest amount of looting. And that's just something I have to do. But if this is a dud... Ooh! I was going to say, if this is a dud, but then we ran across a red box. Nice! Always happy to take me some loot. To get me some loot in my pockets, because I love a lootin'. I don't like buying, I like a lootin'. I can't remember. I know I do buy armor. In fact, I did that once on stream, but I think that's probably the last piece of armor set that I bought. I normally get everything I need. Do we want to go in there? Do we? Yeah, we do. We definitely do. In the last stream, we talked a little bit about color and in the game, and the meaning, and how we have certain colors that represent certain things. And I'm not going to go in depth as much as I did in the last stream. But I will say, orange is an industrial color. Orange represents caution, and in industry, a lot of industrial companies choose orange as their color to associate with cautiousness, that they're not reckless, they're building something, it's not dangerous, but they want to instill caution. And orange cones are orange for the same reason. And red loot boxes make Yentra happy. So we're going to open this one up. Oh, there's a core. That's not something you see very often. That's cool. I'm quite happy. Makes me happy. So yeah, let's go ahead and head back to our raft and go sell some cargo. We'll be coming back here, and I want to do at least 2 runs. Maybe we'll pick a different one, but actually I say that and I really do want to do this twice. Just so that we have a sense of if you wanted to, you know, build yourself a couple of, if you wanted to do a couple of, or daisy chain a couple of runs, what's this thing like doing that? Again, I got to remember on this one that it is the lower deck that we want to go to, not the upper deck. A little bit backwards from most ships, I would say. I don't think there's a lot of ships that are that way. I think obviously the Carrack has a 2 decks, right? 2 bridges, and then you do go to the lower one. All right, let's head to Area 18. And I'm going to start a little timer here, because I'm curious how long this is going to take. So we just started the timer right then when I said starting timer. And, you know, I think if you are using this ship, I don't think you're expecting to do a speed run. You know, so I don't know why. It certainly wouldn't be something I would expect if I was in a real hauling ship. You're not really, you know, time is, of course, important, and you do want to go farther, faster. But you have to have realistic expectations when you're flying a ship like this. I mean, this thing spins up pretty well. I don't know what... actually, I didn't even look at... and I'll check that out when we do... At some point during the stream, I'll check that out. I'm actually intentionally not trying to rush this as well, which I could have mapped ahead of time, and now I'm doing some search for Area 18. But I don't want this to be about the speed. I want it to be about the experience. And so far, I'm liking it. Actually, I really am. I could see... I like the way this ship is it's just responsive enough, actually, that I feel like it's real. It's not so quick, but it does kind of jostle a little bit. It's like there's a slight delay when you tell it to go, you know, you're kind of pushing your thrusters and by the way, the audio, the noise, listen to that. It sounds like, you know, something's charging up, and I love it. I love it. Now, I'm not going to make the same mistake I made before. I got lucky. Fuel looks pretty good, too. I mean, we didn't really do... we actually... Yeah, but we did come from Hurston, so we did the first part of the trip. It was pretty... you know, not long, but it was certainly enough travel there to drain some of the other quantum drives that you can fly in, or fly with. So yeah, I feel pretty good about that. I'm gonna do a test here and just sort of kill. I'm at full throttle here, you can tell. I'm just gonna let go, and then yeah, that is just dropping down. Yeah, look at that. And I am hitting... I'm just going to see what this thing does. Of course, I'm in coupled mode. And look at our altitude. It is dropping. It is dropping. So we really do need that VTOL. It's, of course, with VTOL, it locks itself into place. Take the VTOL away, and I'm assuming we're going to start dropping off here. No, I guess VTOL was enough to kind of stop us from the free fall, and then those thrusters are just calibrated enough to keep us where they are, but they can't, they're not strong enough to stop momentum, it seems. I'm going to keep VTOL on, because we're going to get to a point where we're going to need some landing here. Do you like the orange interface? Although it does kind of, like, whenever they do these colors, like orange and red, for the interface, you know, it does make the things that are important, alerts, are usually in orange or red. There's the please contact ATC to land. Enemies are usually in red.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
And orange is a color that is confused with red, oftentimes. If you happen to have some color blindness or sensitivity or inability to see certain colors, orange and red are very oftentimes confused. So having the interface be orange means that when an alert pops up that I really need to know about, it's going to get lost. That's why I'm glad that these landing indicators, my crosshairs, and the markers, the quantum markers, I'm glad they are in the normal light blue color. So I'm not going to try anything fancy with this thing, although I do feel like it's responsive enough that I really don't feel like I feel like I have fairly good control on this ship. It looks like it's kind of doing what it's supposed to do. Now I'm in VTOL. And I am dropping a little. So, you know, there is that. But of course, this is a hangar that I have plenty of room in, so it's not like I'm... Oh boy. I am really messing this up. Sorry about that. I thought I was looking at the front of the ship, and I was looking at the back of the ship, so my controls were very, very much not going the right direction. You know, I'll crash this thing yet. I'll crash this thing yet. Just kind of get a sense of my bearings here. It doesn't really want to spin for us there. That's not too bad. Okay, all right. I mean, I'm still happy. Everything that you have seen in the awkwardness of flying the ship has been pilot error, and we can't fault the ship for that. We should grade my landings, and that'll force me to spend a little bit more time. It's a rocky. Yeah, you also get the impression that those engines, all the turbulence that you just saw as it was spinning down, it's like, okay, these engines have some force to them, and the ship is responding. I love it. I love that. You know, that just adds some character to this ship. And hey, how about a quick out escape from your ship is that? You know what? You know what? I did not put the landing gear down, and you see that now, and we are in trouble because I need to. I'm gonna store this. I can't believe I forgot to put the landing gear down. Now I don't think I can get up here, and if I call the elevator, I don't know what's gonna happen to this ship. This would be amazing, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't even think I can access the elevator, so I think the thing I need to do before this ship blows up... I can't believe I did that. Where is the elevator? Oh, it's over here. I mean, is it going to tip the ship over if I use the elevator? I think it's going to raise the ship. And I can't even really get... Oh, man. This just is not... Oh, okay, settle down, boy. Settle down. Okay, this is gonna explode. We're gonna do this, and I'm telling you, this is going to be... Okay, I'm not happy about any of that. I'm gonna go store this thing as quickly as I can. I'm gonna go store this thing, and then I will take out the power plant. And oh, I can't believe I did that. You know, I was amateur mistake. Okay, well, it has settled. I think putting the elevator down anchored it to the floor. But we are definitely going to store that ship before it blows up. And we're going to hope that when I retrieve it, I mean, the landing gear might come down. I don't know how that... Actually, I so rarely forget to put the landing gear down on my ship, and I usually can get back in if I ever do, but it's been so long since I've forgotten to do that, so I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how the game handles that situation, so we're going to learn that together as well. But before it just starts bouncing around enough to blow up,
To the ASOP vehicle retrieval system.
we're going to store that puppy. The Argo Raft. Store. It's definitely on the pad. Okay, so now we're stored. We're going to go sell. I love running through this little back and forth here, by the way. Oh, we're going to make this plenty of time. Okay, you know what I like to do. You know what I like to do. We're going to do that. We're going to do it. We're at 13 minutes and 10 seconds from when I started the timer, just in case you're curious. Oh, I lost a little bit of time there in our little thing that we did. Yeah, let's give this a little music.
Share space with other travelers. Remember, we're all taking this journey together.
What a nice little train ride, huh? All right, well, let's go sell and sort out the raft after we sell. Usually when I do these kind of timer runs, I like to do it from the pad after you've sold or purchased. And then I kind of, get up to here, and that's kind of what I would say would be the stopping point, because you got here. And so from a timer perspective, that took us 15 minutes and 30 seconds exactly. So that's how I would do it. Now, I didn't buy... Oh, okay. Boy, I'm just having all kinds of tech issues, aren't I? So we're selling that agresium. I was going to say, man, if it made my agresium, if it turned it into waste, I would not be happy. Okay, so let's just see how we did. So we had 8.718, so we just made about 30K, I think. So let's just find out. I'm just going to update my balance. That would be 8,744,321. And yeah, we made 25,389 credits. That's not a whole heck of a lot, of course. But when you're dealing with 96 SEUs, that's not a terrible number, considering that's 15 minutes. So if that became your average, you'd have like 25,000. Let's just say 25,000 to keep the math simple. And if you did that in 15 minutes, that would mean you'd make 50,000 every half an hour and 100,000 every hour, making a similar run. And of course, you could play around with the commodities, of course, and you could really get in depth with this. But if you wanted to kind of keep the same run and keep running the same run, the agresium that we're pulling from is going to obviously become in short supply. So you're going to start filling up with more and more titanium, and then that's going to get in short supply, and you might need a third commodity. But I think with 96 SCU, you'd probably be fine with one or two. The main commodity you want, and a secondary one like titanium. But the proportion between the two is going to be much more agresium. Excuse me, titanium, as the agresium becomes in high demand. Oh, look, there's a little visual bug there. Some texture mapping issues. Again, set this to music. Such a well-produced stream that I run here, isn't it? Enjoy. So we're going to see what state of condition the raft is in. And my guess is it's not going to be in a great state, but we're just going to try it straight out of the gate. Just cross our fingers and hope that it's not without its landing gear.
Obey all security and customs personnel at all times. Their job
Vehicle selected. Stand by.
I'm an optimist, and I like to start with the most optimistic
Vehicle has been delivered to the following location.
conclusion, which is that everything's fine. The landing gear has even been deployed for us, and life is good. If it's not, I might be in a situation where I need to fly somewhere else and claim it, because I'm not sure if I can get into this with the landing gear not deployed. And we're not striking the raft for this situation. This is Yentra's issue, not the raft. So don't hold it against the raft. Although you could say, yeah, let's hold it against the raft, because without landing gear. Now look at that. Aren't they nice? When they stored it, they said, hey, this idiot forgot to put his landing gear down, so let's go ahead and put the landing gear down for him. Now see, look at that. That worked just like I wanted it to. I made a mistake. Okay, yeah, you jump. I made a mistake, but it was, the game did exactly what we wanted it to, right? You gotta love that. Yeah, I kind of dig this. Now, it's, you know, I do like the satisfaction when I'm running cargo. I do like the satisfaction of seeing the cargo. Oh, I did the top deck. I did the top deck. Let's just see. Yeah, definitely. Oh, it did. Cool. I got that second click. That's awesome. I like seeing the cargo and not being able to kind of see the whole thing. Well, now I think that might come obviously later on in the game, but I wouldn't mind doing another run just to kind of repeat that one and see if we can get another 20 grand or so. Now I have stopped the timer, so it's not fair to say that, when we time this next run, we're not really timing anything of significance because you need to count the whole thing. I don't know how a lot of the places that I use to get trade runs, oftentimes you will see that they will have the time it takes for that particular run, the average time, but I'm not sure how they're starting their timer. Are they starting it, as soon as they spawn the ship, and then every moment in between that and when they get back to the terminal and sell? Is that the time? I don't know. But we took 15 minutes for that run. And looking at the UEX trader site that I use to pick these runs out, they said 16 minutes for this run. So we were 15 and a half. So I think that's a fair, kind of a fair number to say that that's what that run takes in terms of time. I love that little Argo robotic voice. Another favorite of mine is the Rock. It has a similar digital bot voice, and I love it. It's like, yeah, we could have gotten the high-end UI of Origin voice, but this ship doesn't want to tell you. It doesn't want you to feel comfortable. That's not what this ship is about. It's not here to make you comfortable. It's here to make sure you get your cargo from point A to point B. Here's a seat. Should be thanking us that we even gave you that. I love that. The ship just kind of comes with its own attitude. I'm going to head back to Lyria. And this is sort of the other, thing that when you look at a dedicated ship like this, coming from my background in this game, my experience in this game is I like to mix it up quite a bit. I will be doing trade runs, and then I'm like, I'm going to go rock mining, and then I'll go rock mining. I want to go prospector mining. I'll bounce around and do different things, and that's a hit against this ship. That's a con for me. Because this thing is only going to be taken out to haul. I'm not going to run a box mission because that would be impractical. And so the other ships that I have that can haul similar amounts of cargo, if I'm at the terminal and I'm trying to pick out what I'm going to take out, I will lean towards obviously a multi-role, multi-crew ship. So we're just going to repeat that run. As often as I come to Lyria, I really should know where this thing is in relationship to the other things. It's 5. It's 12. That's Teddy's Playhouse. Why can't I find this? Elsewhere. It's about 3. I feel like I've already gone down. All right, what am I missing here, guys? What is going on? Where is spell 2 here? Okay. Yeah, it's right there. Interesting. Okay. I mean, you have to, if you're going to do timing too, right? You have to count for those kind of things too, right? Where you are searching for where you're going to jump. Of course, you can become smart about that and use the map, which I try to avoid using. So I want to do at least one more run here in the raft. And, I gotta say, I kind of like it. I didn't think I was going to like it, actually. I think when I first jumped in the ship during the free fly, I kind of just, I sped through the process of getting into the ship and finding the elevator not working and, all those disruptions from the experience. Kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. But I think I kind of like this thing. I'm not sure how often I'm going to use it. But I could see myself just running a couple of cargo runs. And, yeah, maybe doing a couple. I mean, obviously you're not going to be doing this for big money. If I really wanted to sort of test things out, I'd bring the C2 out and do this same run and show you what you can make with that ship. And I think I know in the back of my mind I've made somewhere between 90 and 100,000 in a run. And as we calculated before, that's going to take an hour in this ship to make the same amount. But that's the way math works. That's the way it works. You have a smaller ship, you have less storage capacity, and you make less money. It's not that complicated. And I think some people who come from flying like a C2 might find that to be a waste of their time. But this is roughly 5 times less expensive than a C2. And if you didn't have a C2 and you kind of wanted to have a thing you could do in game to make just a little bit of money, this might not be a bad option for you. The other thing I'm going to say is, and this is a strange thing to say about trade, but I don't know if you should try to. I think in general, if you're trying to build your game experience around what is the most profitable thing to do, and I'm not going to forget to put the landing gear down this time, but if you're profit driven, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you're profit driven, great, awesome. I'm that way. I like to make money, and I like to be efficient and find the fastest way I can make the most amount of money. And when I'm in that mode and I need credits, because I want to buy something, or, I want to pay people for helping me mine or something like that. Of course, I'm thinking about how quickly I can make money. And it may be weird to say this, but if you can try to get into trading and just enjoy it, and the money is just sort of the facilitator of the experience, and you're not even tracking, maybe you're not even tracking how much money you make. You just want to have fun doing it. And I think that's why, the C2 is great. But if I were to tell you, hey, I like flying this raft so much, and I like the fact that there's something for me to do in the game with this thing, I think that's enough, Don't overthink it. Just enjoy yourself and enjoy the experience of doing this. And the ship contributes to that experience. You want to make money? Buy a C2. Save for the C2, right? Or whatever ship you want that is the highest level of cargo that you feel is worth it. If you want to have fun, maybe you still fly the C2. That's fine. If that's your thing. Why isn't this door? Uh-oh. Okay, I know I did that. So yeah, I think that's just sort of the way I approach this and everything else. Even, mining with my prospector. I love flying that ship. So Grecium has reset. That's great. 100,000. I think we got a little bit more last time. And yeah, I'm going to pick titanium again and fill up the cargo. And already recorded the balance, so let's head straight there this time. I think just another thing with the stream here, the content that I'm going to be doing in the stream, I'm not gonna. I promise you, because of my personality is that I do get bored pretty quickly. What I want to do is sort of provide some consistency enough that in what we do here on the stream, but not so much that you're going to see the same stream repeated every week, 3 times a week. Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this ship and this particular ship, this clankety clank noise, sorry, I went the wrong way. The way that the sounds, and certainly this engine really, I think, is probably the sound of this engine is the thing I'm most happy about. I mean, that sounds like a fighter jet almost taking off. Okay, well, we have some friends here. And Knight Rider is there. So we're going to see what Knight Rider's doing. And I think Knight Rider wants to have a little fun. He's in a constellation. And he is looking over at me. And see what he does. I've got my VTOL. I'm going to go ahead and take off. You may just have been waiting politely to use the landing pad that I stole from him. And we'll see. Yeah, I think he's a friendly. So we'll head this to ArcCorp. We'll hit Area 18 and do another sale. And I wanted to have a comparison, just because I was curious. I am curious. And like I said, I think this is a really comfortable din, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I mean, the dedicated purpose of the ship too, the other thing about that on the positive side is it really does make me, commit to what we're doing. And sometimes I think, it's like when you're looking for a movie to watch and you spend 40 minutes looking for a movie to watch. This constrains you to the activity of cargo hauling. And I haven't been distracted once. I just decided, I'm kind of doing this cargo run. I could keep doing cargo runs all day in this ship. I think that might be something to do, is just kind of sit down and just do a marathon of cargo running in a ship like this. Again, not for money, just to kind of have the experience of running some cargo. I think that's kind of a cool idea. Of course, again, I say that, and as much as I love cargo hauling, I enjoy watching other people do it more than I do doing it sometimes. So yeah, let's bring this in for a landing and see what we made today.
Proceed to assigned landing bay.
Yeah, so I think if you were in that position where you've got your starter ship and you're looking for the next ship to buy, for hauling things, 1.8 million, that's not too bad. If you're just starting in doing some mining, for example, and you want something to transport your work orders, this isn't too bad of an option. I think I'm going to have to just keep checking it out a little bit more. To see if my first impression holds true, and test it out a little bit more. before I would fully recommend it. But yeah, so far, pretty impressed with this thing. Boy, isn't it funny? I did not think this was going to be the outcome. I really thought I was going to like it, but not love it. And yeah, I kind of love it right now. Still getting used to the ship, so I like to bounce between the two views to really get a sense of yeah, to get a sense of, where the ship is in relationship to the hangar that I'm about to land in. You know how that goes. Still getting used to it. I'm used to flying big ships. But I'm not used to how this thing is reacting to my input quite yet, as you can tell. Engines off. Landing gear is down. Oh, that's such a good shot. Let's do that. Another thing to be said for the ship is how quickly you can get out. I mean, the door is right around the edge here. I think I'm closer this way, aren't I? Yeah, I think this is a, that's a time saver too if you're worried about time. Now I'm really curious about how I feel about the whole A. I did not have a good first fly experience with that ship. It doesn't hold as much cargo as the Raft. And it really isn't, I think meant to compare to the Raft either. Okay. It's already daytime.
Please be aware that while in the standing
Welcome
system
to the
and on
ASOC
Argo
vehicle
Raft,
retrieval
all
system.
UEE common laws are still in effect.
There's something very therapeutic by a cargo run too, I think.
Please visit us again.
It has such a defined beginning, middle, and end to it. And we, I'm a completionist. I like finishing things, and I like the sense of progress and productivity. And this fits really well to that, doesn't it? I mean, you go somewhere, you push a button, you hop on a ship, you go somewhere else, and you push another button, and that's the end of it. This is just as beautiful during the day as it is during the evening. So let's once again listen to something. Got a colorful outfit on there. Somebody's coming from a run. Everyone's in such a hurry. Me too. I like to run. So obviously it will take you a while to make your money back from buying this particular ship if you're going to use this ship to pay for itself. But again, you know, if we just put the money aside for just a moment and think of the fun factor, this ship, I am embarrassed to say I've spoken ill of this ship multiple times. And the whole A. For the same reason. But I think that's just not forward thinking. It's just not forward thinking. It's not even present thinking. So let's go ahead and record that. That's 8,769,776. So our first run, to remind you of that, it was 25,389 credits. And this time the run was 25,455 credits. So assuming we hit roughly the same average time, 25K is a good number to think about as what you might make buying a Grecium. Very limited test data here, obviously. This isn't conclusive. But if I were to continue doing what I just was doing, my guess is that I would be making 50,000 every half an hour or so, and around 100, little over 100K an hour. And you know, you could go rock mining and make about that in an hour. I've done a lot more rock mining than I've done trading. And, of course, you can make a lot more rock mining too. But if you hustled, and you could see I was not hurrying at all, if you really kind of dialed it in because you wanted to make money and that was your purpose, you could make 100K in the raft an hour. I don't think that's bad money, especially if you're looking for an activity to do on your own time. There are outside influences, of course, the economy, the trade value. You have to contend with that. I may have picked a really good time when no one was trading a Grecium. I don't really know those prices as well as others, so I can't tell you if we got a great deal. And if I really got into trading, I would start to do that a little bit more, but and know when to buy and not to buy. But you know, you're not going to fly all the way to that terminal and not buy a Grecium because it's not at base price. At least I don't think you would. That would be kind of a waste of time. So beyond that, I'm going to take the raft out, and I kind of feel like I would do another run, but I feel as though we've gotten a good first experience with the raft, and I don't want to spoil it. Curious. Yeah. I think we'll take the raft and we'll bring her back home to Arc L1 and call the stream a day. Kind of wrap things up. Really enjoyed doing these streams, and very thankful for you watching these streams as well. And I would really appreciate any feedback that you might have. Please take a few moments of your time and like and subscribe. Starting to get some more likes, starting to get some more subs. I really do appreciate that, those who have done that. And I know we're not seeing a large audience yet, but I'm determined to keep doing these. And if you want to keep follow me on this sort of journey as I build up this community, I'd really enjoy that. I really hope you take some time to participate. And you can participate by joining the Know Nothing Discord server that I run. It's really the best way to get a hold of me and to interact with me. The link for that is in the description, along with some other links there. The official Know Nothing Star Citizen group on the RSI website. Link is in the description for that as well. I also put a link to some more information about the raft in case you're interested. There's a nice wiki on that raft which provides the technical details that I kind of glossed over because that's not what we're doing. There are others who do a much better job of that than I do, or would want to. Maybe we'll do a stream one day where I do some upgrades on the ships, because it is nice to see the difference between, the base ship and it tricked out. So going to hangar 3, but I'm gonna grab a coffee, maybe a bite to eat. You can see I still have these 4 generic placeholders in my inventory here at Area 18. Gonna eat healthy today. Get ourselves an apple. I love apples, by the way. Fun fact about Yentra. That was the first word I knew how to spell. And I know this because I used to ask, I was a very young little tyke, and I had to ask my mom if I wanted to eat something. As a kid, you have to go up to your parents and say, hey, can I have whatever? And I loved apples so much, we couldn't keep them in the house. And my mom knew that. And she also knew I was not the best speller as a child. I don't know why. That was something that came later. I didn't do well on my spelling test, I think probably. That's probably what provoked it. But I'm in grade school here. Let's put things into context at this time of the story. And I remember asking, hey, can I have an apple? And my mom said, well, if you can spell it, you can have it. But you'll have to spell apple every time you ask me for an apple. So I pooled my resources and learned how to spell that word. And I know that was the first word I committed, or at least that's how I remember it. That's the first word I committed to knowing how to spell apple. And I think about that as I eat apples. And think about this ship. I think I'm very happy with that purchase. 1.8 million. That's not nothing, but And you pair this with a prospector. And this will be all you need to do a couple of work orders. Yeah. This could be a nice, good setup as you're getting into the mining profession. And you could use this ship to run a little trade while to make a little extra money. Yeah. Do I recommend this ship? If I had to make the call right now, absolutely. Buy this thing. God, I cannot believe I'm actually just saying that with confidence, because I would have told you before the beginning of this stream that I would not recommend this ship at all. That was fully my expectation, was that I was going to buy this thing, and then I was going to tell you to not waste your money, get yourself a Freelancer Max or something. And the points that I had prior to this stream and the points that I have now after having done this stream are the same, and that is, you really just need to know what to expect from the ship that you want to use. And in this particular case, don't expect to be doing, multiple activities per se. You're going to be hauling cargo. And if you don't like hauling cargo, you don't need a cargo ship. You need something else, a multi-purpose. But if you like the idea of having something dedicated to cargo hauling, this is a good entry point ship for that. It really is. And it makes me really happy to be able to say that. I just don't know what those front things are. It's almost like this whole thing. Yeah, it's really interesting. So there's a lot here. There's a lot going on with this ship, and I think, like a lot of ships, the value really comes in the character of the ship, not so much the usefulness of it for me. That's how I'm feeling about this ship right now. So I guess that's another way to pair. If you're trying to make a decision about, oh, do I buy this ship? I think what I would say to you is, after the small talk and the more important upfront facts about, like, what's your current situation? Are you doing mining and you've got the Quantanium, or are you really interested in getting into trading? We would talk about the current state of the game first and kind of make sure that we all know right now trading's not in a great spot. There really just isn't an active, fluid economy, as I mentioned earlier in the stream. There's just not enough of a middle economy and a small economy. These things aren't there. I guess I would say that if anything, there's more of a middle economy than anything. But there isn't a large economy and a small economy, and the middle economy isn't looking too good either. But that's typical. That's very typical in economies, because you do need a middle and an upper class economy. They work off of each other. Neither one of them is more important than the other. And that's not to say that we want people to be of a particular class, but as far as things go in this game, you have your Quantanium, and everything else is just absolutely not worth mining unless you're mining for pleasure. And then you've got your two kind of high-level trading commodities, which I think are agricium and laranite. And if you rock mine, you have your Hadnite and Aphorite. Is, Hadnite's great, Aphorite is okay, and then Dolvine is not worth anything. So when this is all fleshed out and this is rounded out, what you'll see is each of those 3 rock gemstones will have a value in this game. There will be a purpose for Dolvine. There will be a purpose for Hadnite and Aphorite. And there will be a purpose for Agricium and Laranite. But there will also be a purpose for titanium and for diamonds and for those things. And there's such a sharp drop-off right now that we don't have that that commodity, that demand on the commodity. Right now, the only thing you can do with these commodities is buy and sell them. And so they have an intrinsic base value, and the more valuable they are, the demand is coming from a real one-dimensional place right now, which is just its monetary value. And that's not how real economies work. Diamonds are not rare, but they are expensive because everybody likes to put them on a ring and use them for other things. And there are industrial uses for diamonds. But so as these commodities start to become more useful in the game for other things, I have to buy diamond, let's say, to be used to for my mining laser or something to that effect. As those demands start to flesh out, it'll round out the economy. And ships like this will become more useful and more profitable. Because as those secondary commodities start to compete more with the top tier commodities, they'll become more valuable. Right? So if everyone needs titanium for the whole of their ship, and that linkage is made in the game, then we're going to start to see titanium price go up and down and have some fluctuations. And then that will really take trading to another level. And I'm going to do my best to not get myself into trouble here. I was going... Again, kind of flying in at top speed is probably not a good idea given the fact that I'm in a bit of a tank here. But yeah, I mean, I would say this thing flies better than the Mole, which is actually surprising to me. I would expect them to have similar flight characteristics, and I think they're close. But if I, because it has been a while since I've flown my Mole. But man, I think this thing flies. It's a little bit better flying this thing around than a Mole. Similar. Yeah, very similar in some ways, but I think overall this one seems to just be better than the Mole in terms of agility and maneuverability and get that nice voice though, same voice. I love that like aggressive noise when you lay off the throttle. Like, listen. Just sort of, I guess it didn't do it that time. Yeah, there we go. It's kind of reminding you that it's an aggressive maneuver to just come to a complete stop, to lay off the throttle. But yeah, we're going to wrap things up here as soon as I land. Pop out and we'll say our goodbyes. But ultimately, I've never been disappointed when I can change how I feel about a particular thing that I thought I was just rock solid on. I thought this was easily going to be a ship that I told you all of my, negative feelings about, and prove them in stream even, maybe. But I'm glad we kind of kept an open mind, you and I, as we checked out the Argo Raft. And we learned that it's a pretty good ship. Does have its limitations. It's something that needs to do, be given more to do in game. But when those needs arise and when the capabilities become available, I think this thing is going to stand up to the challenge and be one of those ships that, if for nothing else, you like to fly it because it definitely has some character. So I think we're going to leave it here, or leave it there, as they say. And we're going to go ahead and call this stream done. And I would like to once again thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. And check out the Know Nothing Discord server. Link is in the description. And yeah, we will see you in the next one.
Oh, we wildin', we drinking cherry wine and we dancing on an island. We going but the finest. Yeah, yeah, young Mr. Killer and call me señorita. I papi got me dreaming. My legs up on the ceiling. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know when he come, he ain't never gonna leave. Nah. Hit it the night run and that's the way I wanna be. So don't think I'm the one to won't ever be enough. Mix until I know, bitch, I ain't the one. He don't want love. He just wanna fuck. Ow, little vacation. Drink it till we naked. Talking with our tongues. We just having